Parliament. My name is Julie F. Nantaba, and I'll definitely have to ask Robert Chirabo Nyonyi to know if this is really news. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, Julie. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Is this news?
Well, it's not news. Why? Because we knew a process was followed.
Right.
But already, I think, was it Friday or Thursday when you asked me, and I used the Uganda word, munda biranga ddala. You know, so the munda biranga ddala came to pass. And we wait for today, but of course, when the NRM caucus decides, precedent has shown that their word is final. They have the majority in Parliament, and there is no way they have caucused, met their party chairman, and come on the floor of Parliament and done otherwise. It's always as agreed in the caucus.
Indeed.
So I can rightfully say the two, one is already the Speaker, the other is the Deputy Speaker. It can't reign disorder. That I'm very sure.
Interesting. Now take us through what we have on the local scene this morning.
Well, we begin with President Museveni, who has threatened to sack unperforming parish chiefs in the latest war. He instructed members of Parliament to work with parish chiefs in the fight against poverty at household level, and the MPs should report parish chiefs who do not comply. Museveni was speaking during the NRM Parliamentary caucus at State House in Entebbe that endorsed Jacob Oboth as the Speaker and Thomas Tayebwa as the Deputy Speaker. Speaking to members of the NRM Parliamentary caucus at State House in Entebbe, Museveni tasked members of Parliament to fight poverty. He told the members to work together with parish chiefs on wealth creation and report to him underperforming ones. Museveni discouraged the MPs against free cash offers to the voters, but instead empower them to create their own wealth. The president also warned the legislators against borrowing from commercial banks that leaves them heavily indebted. The 12th Parliament will vote for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker today, Monday, the 25th, as the 12th Parliament officially kicks off. After being endorsed by the SEC, the NRM MPs are expected to vote Jacob Oboth as the Speaker and Thomas Tayebwa as the Deputy. Months of consultations and intense discussions have finally shaped the NRM leadership choice for Parliament. The ruling party endorsed Jacob Oboth for Speaker and Thomas Tayebwa. Leaders said the process ended in consensus as Parliament prepares to vote today. Endorsed by the Central Executive Committee and approved by the NRM Parliamentary caucus, the decision is now official. Jacob Oboth is the NRM party flag bearer for the position of the Speaker of the 12th Parliament. It is a decision reached after consultations, discussions and deliberations. The ruling party appears to have avoided the divisions many feared would emerge during the race. The NRM legislators voted for the party flag bearer for the position of Deputy Speaker, settling for Thomas Tayebwa. Some legislators who had earlier shown interest in the position stepped aside. Independent but NRM-leaning legislator Persis Namuganza also withdrew from the race. They pledged to put upright what went wrong. The two will now face opposition candidates for the top parliamentary position today when members of the 12th Parliament cast their vote. Uganda's ambassador to Ethiopia and permanent representative to the African Union, Rebecca Amuge Otengo, has led Uganda's delegation at the 87th Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights held in Gambia. She highlighted Uganda's commitment to democratic governance, human rights and socio-economic transformation. The 12-member Uganda delegation was drawn from various ministries, departments and agencies of government. while representing Uganda's national report on behalf of the government of the Republic of Uganda, the ambassador highlighted the country's commitment to democratic governance, human rights and socio-economic transformation. On Uganda's recent general elections, the ambassador appreciated the solidarity and support extended by the African Union leadership and member states, emphasizing the government's focus on politics of interest rather than politics of identity. The delegation also responded to concerns raised during the session, including questions regarding Uganda's position on receiving migrants from the United States of America through a bilateral agreement with the U.S. on the third country nationals. She also talked efforts by Uganda to combat gender-based violence, the progress in socio-economic transformation. Ambassador Otengo further outlined several government interventions aimed at improving livelihood, promoting inclusiveness and strengthening service delivery across the country. And those bring us to the end of our local stories this morning. Let's take a look at what Julie has for us on the international scene.
All right, thank you very much, Robert. And looking at what we have on the international scene, we're starting off with matters U.S. President Donald Trump and, of course, Iran. He says, and he has instructed negotiators not to rush the deal with Iran after earlier suggesting an agreement was close. Now, the deal under discussion reportedly involves a 60-day ceasefire extension, reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and a plan for further negotiations over Iran's nuclear program. In a social media post, Trump said constructive talks were proceeding, but both sides must take their time and get it right. Trump said on Saturday an agreement had been largely negotiated, prompting speculation and announcement could be imminent. Iranian officials also signaled process in talks over the weekend, with Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Bagay saying the two sides are both very close and very far from reaching an agreement. According to U.S. media, the mooted deal is not a final settlement and instead leaves some of the thorniest issues to be negotiated later, including Iran's demand for sanctions relief, its calls for the release of frozen Iranian funds, and Washington's demands for Iran to curb its nuclear ambitions. The reported deal has split Republicans, with some publicly arguing it's too lenient on Iran. Now, a suicide car bomb attack on a train carrying soldiers in Quetta, the capital of southwestern Pakistani province of Balochistan, has killed at least 24 people and wounded more than 50 others. Balochistan Liberation Army, a separatist group, has claimed responsibility for Sunday's attack. Reporting from the scene, Al Jazeera's Kamal Haider said several houses and buildings adjacent to the railway line were severely damaged. The blast caused some train carriages to overturn and catch fire. According to local media reports, a state of emergency was declared at public hospitals in Quetta, with doctors and other medical staff ordered to remain on duty. Footage shared online showed charred vehicles and train carriages lying on their sides, sending thick plumes of black smoke into the sky. Haider said Pakistan has experienced several attacks by separatist groups in recent months. The attacks have increased in ferocity and have also targeted Chinese workers due to opposition in Beijing's infrastructure projects in Balochistan. He added, under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, China's Xinjiang region has been connected to Pakistan's Gwadar port. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has condemned the attack in a post on X. Quote unquote, such cowardly acts of terrorism cannot weaken the resolve of the people of Pakistan. We remain steadfast in our determination to eliminate terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, he said. And on to the continent, the Speaker of Senegal's Parliament said Sunday he was resigning 2 days after his close ally was fired as Prime Minister, deepening a political crisis in debt-laden West Africa country. The move by Speaker El Malik Ndiaye clears the way for sacked Premier Ousmane Sonko to run for the post of head of parliament, where his PASTEF party holds a strong majority, in a challenge to President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Deputies have been summoned to a full session of the Assembly on Tuesday morning to reinstate Sonko as a member of Parliament and vote for a new speaker, said an official document published late Sunday. That could further complicate reform efforts by Faye, who sacked his former ally Sonko on Friday after months of tension. Faye owed his presidency in large part to Sonko, who would almost certainly have taken the top job had he not been barred from running in the last presidential election due to a defamation conviction. And those are matters politics in Senegal. Let's have a look at what the dailies have this morning. Robert, take us away with what the vision carries this morning.
Well, more parliamentary staff summoned in Amongi probe. That's in the new vision. And we have NRM endorses both, that is Oboth and Tayewa. And still looking at the new vision, Uganda earns 5.35 trillion from March exports. And in crime, Masakabi Jambia gang leader gets 115 years in prison. I wonder when he will leave. And Ugandan farm files US Ebola vaccine patient. And allow me leave the new vision. But before I do that, also there's how Amongi ended up unopposed in Vukedia. Now, why this time? They are digging and digging and digging.
It's a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt.
Arsenal 2025-2026 Premier League champions. I know very soon even the other league shall lift that trophy. 14% rise in childhood cancer report. Very unfortunate. And here we have powers of the speaker. What does the speaker do? Government gives schools prevention guidelines as second term starts and Tanzania takes over China, Kenya as Uganda's top source for imports. Okay, and here we have, okay, Tanzania takes over and the lizard comes in good neighbor lines. Okay, well, those are some of the stories in the Daily Monitor. Of course, Jacob Obotho, very happy there, being the flag bearer. And not so much there. Well, Anita Among's reshape Busoga politics. Well, Ebola Namugongo scales down Matters Day prayers. Okay, and let's take a look at what is happening in the papers for other neighboring countries. Julie, what do you have there?
Right, I'll start off with the Citizen, whose headline is WB Envoy Lords Gains as Successor Outlines Plan. Outgoing World Bank Country Director Nathan Belete has praised Tanzania's macroeconomic stability, reform trajectory and implementation capacity, while his successor said the global institution's engagement going forward would focus on what he termed the growth and jobs agenda. Now, in other news, state reveals new strategies to boost youth's economic empowerment, prosperity, and matters health. Government moves to ensure more women with obstetric fistula seek treatment, and hope on malaria grows as the battle continues. How Gulf conflict has opened fresh economic opportunities for Tanzania, and analysts take on Msigwa Selasini return to Chadema. One of the things that interests me about the Citizen is they always have news of hope, even in the midst of chaos. It's with pockets of news that you see are so negative about Tanzania. Anyways, moving on to the Daily Nation. In Kenya, Ruto allies hype vote rigging plot. That's the headline on there. And impartial IEBC officials assure agency independent and will ensure every vote counts in 2027. And state seeks 27 billion shillings for AI surveillance on social media users. Also how Kenyan sharp boys abetted 12 billion shillings US scam. And of course, in the picture there, it's Arsenal fans paint the city red to celebrate historic title triumph. And Robert, I don't know about you, but have you seen or experienced any Arsenal celebrations where you are, where you reside?
Oh, my friend. But the most interesting one I met were a group of these youth.
Right.
They were coming to watch the match, and there were about 30, all very much smart in Arsenal jerseys. Yeah. And they had a goat with them. Now, of course, it was on a rope. It was putting on a Manchester United jersey. And they were pulling it, going to watch. I had to stop. And I was with my brother, Nelson Mwesigwa.
Did you film it?
I didn't.
Come on.
I kept laughing.
Why do you walk with that phone?
And laughing. Because I couldn't believe that...
Well, the celebrations do continue in my area code as well. Celebrations were all over the place. A cow was killed just to celebrate Arsenal.
They had to slaughter one.
Hey, one was slaughtered for celebrations of Arsenal, and it was in different pockets of the area.
Let me tell you, I've come to believe, not that I support Arsenal and I love my team, but the truth is, I think the biggest percentage of Ugandans love and are Arsenal fans. Believe me, because we've seen other teams take this trophy, but it hasn't had this vibe. Well, one would say it had taken some long time, but what I've seen, if you watch what was happening at Kavumba, Yes Center, in Mbarara,
yes,
I had a friend there who was sending me footage.
In Buikwe and Mbarara, prayers were held, mass was held, serious mass by the way, serious mass, offertory was collected, and the service was due to Arsenal. In Buikwe, the congregation asked that they are going to collect their money, solicit funds, so that they construct pews, church pews. But the church had to make sure that those church pews had a label, Arsenal, on them. Very
I want to stand with them and of course get one also.
A church pew?
It has Arsenal, then a little bit donated by.
Very interesting at that. But today, the 25th of May, we are looking forward to what Parliament shall look like for the 12th August House as they elect the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of that August House. In a way, by predictable conditions, it's as if we already know what is to transpire and who the next Speaker is. But of course, it's also pertinent to just watch the events as they unravel and the why to which each event is taking place. And as UBC, we'll be sure to deliver all of this story to you. But for now, allow us to take a short break, and when we get back, it's another conversation altogether. Just make sure that you save the number 0709 602592 so that you are part of the conversation. Good morning.
UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's the 25th day of May 2026, the long-awaited day. Now, I do not know if it's news that OO and TT have been chosen or endorsed by the NRM party for the position of Speaker and Deputy Speaker. But as far as conditions stand, at least predictably so, we are looking at the next Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament, that is the 12th Parliament. My name is Julie F. Nantaba, and I'll definitely have to ask Robert Chirabo Nyonyi to know if this is really news. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you, Julie. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Is this news?
Well, it's not news. Why? Because we knew a process was followed.
Right.
But already, I think, was it Friday or Thursday when you asked me, and I used the Uganda word, munda biranga ddala. You know, so the munda biranga ddala came to pass. And we wait for today, but of course, when the NRM caucus decides, precedent has shown that their word is final. They have the majority in Parliament, and there is no way they have caucused, met their party chairman, and come on the floor of Parliament and done otherwise. It's always as agreed in the caucus.
Indeed.
So I can rightfully say the two, one is already the Speaker, the other is the Deputy Speaker. It can't reign disorder. That I'm very sure.
Interesting. Now take us through what we have on the local scene this morning.
Well, we begin with President Museveni, who has threatened to sack unperforming parish chiefs in the latest war. He instructed members of Parliament to work with parish chiefs in the fight against poverty at household level, and the MPs should report parish chiefs who do not comply. Museveni was speaking during the NRM Parliamentary caucus at State House in Entebbe that endorsed Jacob Oboth as the Speaker and Thomas Tayebwa as the Deputy Speaker. Speaking to members of the NRM Parliamentary caucus at State House in Entebbe, Museveni tasked members of Parliament to fight poverty. He told the members to work together with parish chiefs on wealth creation and report to him underperforming ones. Museveni discouraged the MPs against free cash offers to the voters, but instead empower them to create their own wealth. The president also warned the legislators against borrowing from
When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product.
I know what Uganda needs. When General Caleb Akantwanaho retired, Salim Saleh presented his long, detailed analysis of Uganda's economy and structured recommendations for improvement in the form of the Third National Development Plan, NDP-3, to President Museveni. He laid out the kinds of problems that many Ugandans feel every day, but rarely see captured in one place. He was doing what he has done for years, breaking down the problems holding back ordinary Ugandans. He talked about distortions in factors of production, such as land conflicts that choke investment, the high cost of finance for ordinary people, the shortage of skills among youth, the slow pace of value addition, and the gap between production in the villages and the factories in industrial parks. It was the kind of diagnosis a technocrat offers when trying to get a country unstuck. The president's reply was striking in its simplicity. I know what Uganda needs. At first, to others, it might have sounded almost dismissive. But when placed in the context of 40 years of state rebuilding, economic reform, and political stability, it revealed something deeper. A belief that Uganda's path to transformation has been consistent, deliberate, and informed by lived experience rather than theory. His confidence is not based on guesswork. It's based on the journey already traveled. He always stresses that any serious revolutionary discussion about the economy of Uganda, or indeed much of Africa, should include the following questions. 1. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1900, at the dawn of colonialism? 2. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1962, at the sunset of colonialism? 3. How and what was the magnitude of the collapse of the Ugandan economy between 1971 and 1986? Idi Amin, Obote II, Okello. 4. What, therefore, was the economy of Uganda like in 1986? 5. What is the Ugandan economy like today, and why?
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back from that short break. It's the 25th of May 2026. It's a day I can't stop talking about by date, because it's a day that as Ugandans willing and the 12th August House expect the next Speaker of Parliament and Deputy Speaker to be voted. Today it's been such a post and conversation that has held a lot of topics around it, of course, from the beginning when elections were finished and members of parliament now were known as to who belongs to which party. Conversation started as to who was endorsed by SEC. And by the time we went to Chankwanzi, there was no clarity of it, but at least still the firmness was that the Speaker of Parliament, or the one that would be endorsed by the NRM party as Speaker of Parliament, would be Honorable Annette Anita Among, and deputized again by Honorable Thomas Tayebwa. And by last week, as it ended, Honorable AAA had withdrawn her petition to be the next Speaker of Parliament. But still again, by last week, the word around was that Honorable both had been endorsed, maybe would be endorsed by the NRM, but at least had been officially endorsed on social media handles, as we had seen, by PLU, that is the Patriotic League of Uganda, as one they expected or thought would be suitable for the position of Speaker of Parliament alongside Honorable Thomas Tayebwa. And by end of this weekend, we knew that the NRM indeed had officially confirmed and endorsed the two for those two great positions in leading the 12th August House. This is the conversation that we are looking at. And in your opinion, is the NRM's endorsement of Honorable Oboth and Honorable Tayebwa a step in the right direction for Parliament? What do you think? Share your opinion. 0709602592. Send a WhatsApp message, but you can also be onto our X handle at UBCTV Uganda, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. A lot of facts, a lot of interesting conversation that goes around this, and I'd like now at this point to just allow Robert to also share his 2 cents. But a reminder that us who are right in front of you as you watch UBC TV, my name is Julie F. Natawa with Robert Chirago Nyonyinto. Now once again be part of the conversation. 0709602592. Robert, I'll first ask, how have you found the ambience over the last couple of weeks regarding Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament compared to the previous years?
Well, both have been very interesting. The previous years, Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, at such a time, had put up a show.
True.
Had put up a show. At such a time, there was so much disorganization, I must say, within the NRM. We had even some talk of last-minute calls. You know? Some said so much was happening. Today, if the Speaker, it was complicated. No one knew if at the end of the day, Rebecca Kadaga will take the day, because she was a very formidable force, or Olanya would take that day. So at such a time, there wasn't very much direction. This time round, we thought it was a done deal when SEC had earlier made a decision that for peace and continuity, let Annette Antamong do the other 5 years, making it 10. Tayebwa does another 5 years, making it 10. That would mean now Tayebwa would come for speakership after Among would bow out now, having done her 10 years. Then someone else would come in for deputy speaker. But there's a last minute U-turn when now issues of corruption, the laws came in, and you know what happened? Of course, police has not come out yet to say this is this, but we would see what was happening. So Annette Antamong's corruption scandals changed the whole thing, because previously it was not much will be done, that we know who is coming. Then you can't doubt in all this the power of the Patriotic League of Uganda. Because even beginning the journey of Annette Antamong, we saw that statement that was read by the Secretary General of the PLU, Honorable Kabanda, the way it changed the environment and the atmosphere. Then also Jacob Oboth, you know, PLU still saying that this is the person that we feel should represent the speakership. And even when we thought that was a done deal, that okay, it's known they will come to Parliament, NRM under the wise leadership says no. Now let's go to the formal process. And I must congratulate NRM for having gone through this process. I don't know what the day is going to look like, but so far I want to congratulate them. Because you see, they had to make what we call a quick fix. And when you're making a quick fix, you can have negativity or positivity, but the process sometimes is very tearing, is very breaking. And I must say, they went through it. They managed to sail through the storm. And I believe we are going to see them on the shores today. Now,
right. There, in one of the pointers that have been were noticed about Honorable Anita Among was the fact that she was such a good mobilizer, and she was able to command a respect of mobilization from both the opposition and NRM party cadres in Parliament, and it's one quality that is rare amongst leaders. But here in the New Vision states that Oboth, one of the reasons why Oboth was laid a finger on was the fact that he too commands broad cross-party respect and goodwill. Now, you've been around covering lots of politics over the time, and in your perspective, do you think this is indeed something that's tangible, a reason for Oboth?
Well, I must say he commands respect in both opposition and Parliament. He's been a member of Parliament who may not have the mobilization skills like Anita Among. Anita Among, when it comes to mobilizations, was exceptionally.
Yep, she is. She
knew how to do it. I don't know how.
Happy hour skills.
Happy hour skills, and she would make things move. Look at how many people crossed to the NRM during her time. She was always fishing for the party. Jacob Oboth is not that.
You know, you say that you remind me of Andrew Mwenda's 2 cents last week on Behind the Headlines. He said that the problem he looks at OO facing in the 12th August House, if he becomes Speaker of Parliament, was the fact that he wondered if he'd be able to handle problems of members of Parliament. And this was, according to Mwenda, it was because Anita was able to sort these people's problems hand out. And if anyone approached her with, I have this problem, she was able to sort it cash-wise. And he wondered if OO would have the same type of influence, and it would be a major problem for him. I
want to say first, OO is a bit reserved compared to Anita Among, who was so outgoing. I'll use this example. It may look funny, but when we were in A-level, we had sciences and people doing sciences and doing arts. But you'd find that most scientists were reserved, if you remember. Then the arts, most sciences, so I see one as the art student and the other as the science student. So, but Parliament also being a speaker is not easy. Parliamentarians have a lot of issues. I remember one time, I think it was Honorable Kadaga, who said, I'm fed up of women bringing children here. Of members who are not paying fees, who are not taking care of them. Parliamentarians have issues in constituencies. But the good thing is the Speaker has a budget still. There is a budget in the office of the Speaker. If she has a budget for donations, where Julie, there is a budget for donations that the Speaker will donate. So it is all about using properly the money you have at hand. But what are your priorities? Jacob Oboth will his priorities be more of having the House together, you know, having MPs respect you that much, controlling like on a remote. Because believe me, there were those that were being controlled. He who pays the piper determines the tune. But also a person you can run to for financial rescue and you're guaranteed the money is there. How's the way they press some buttons upon you? That's why you would hear, you sit, you shut up, you. Because, you know, you have something.
And I think I look forward to a Parliament now that does not have that kind of approach towards the fellow honorable members. You know, I look forward to a Parliament.
Because if I know I lent you money.
And I find that petty. I find that petty, really.
I know where to hold.
It's the August flow.
And you step down and cool.
Right, but it's for us, it's not for you. You can have your dealings behind the scenes of Parliament, and you can order someone to sit down in public behind the scenes of Parliament. But on that floor, we expect some degree of excellence, some degree of respect, honor, you know, some glory that comes with everyone who walks into that August House and holds the name honorable. So to see a speaker or someone who leads the Parliament belittle a fellow speaker, it's rather a fellow honorable member of Parliament, it's something that I would feel a particular way about. But of course, as we look forward to who will be elected as the 12th Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament, thereafter we also look forward to the events that will unfold in Parliament. But for you to speak into is the NRM's endorsement of OO and TT a step in the right direction for Parliament. What do you think? Share your opinion to 0709602592 and at UBC TV Uganda on X. The hashtag is UBCGMU. And please take note of the fact that for the first time in about 20 years, we do have a speaker that has served one term. But of course, the deputy speaker comes back again. And one would wonder, is it in a way, could we also hope that in 2031, well, 2032 maybe, that's when 31 is when we'll elect again, will he now come back as Speaker of Parliament after serving 2 terms as Deputy Speaker? Do you see it happening?
Well, I've now come to believe that times and seasons determine change. We can no longer predict now anymore. It will depend on how he handles himself. Now, today we are having 528 members of Parliament who are going to be voting for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker. They should have been 529, but we lost Karanga, a woman member of Parliament. That is Nachimuli, you remember? So she's not going to be there, Helen. And there has not been a by-election. Of course, there are processes and legal. So one member, Parliament is less by one member of Parliament.
Right.
So instead of having 529, we shall have 528. Now, why do I say that SEC and the caucus decision is already final? Let's look at the composition of this Parliament. Now, when you look at NRM, it has 372 members of Parliament. Out of, if you do math, 528. Now, when you look at the 372 NRM, you have 68 who are independents. But these independents are widely viewed as leaning to NRM. And some were in the caucus. They were invited in the NRM caucus. So they're also most likely to give the vote to NRM's choice. Now you have 48 legislators. That is for National Unity Platform. 48. Then you're going to have 12 UPC. And then you have 9 FDC. You have 6 DP. PFF has 2 members of Parliament. And ANT has 1 member of Parliament. Now, if you look at that, still, NRM has a very huge number.
And advantage.
And advantage. Now, when we look at Paul Mwiru, that is of the National Unity Platform, and FDC has also said this is our preferred choice for democratic change. Now, that is Paul Mwiru is going in there. I don't know his party. If you add FDC and National Unity Platform, FDC there they have 9. Then NUP has 48. The figure you get still is nowhere, even if you add UPC to NRM. Now, when you bring in Norbert Mao, who is also saying, no, I still believe I can handle this and handle it very well. DP has 6. Now, I don't know how the 6 can do so much. And having given history of this Parliament, ask Honorable Semujunganda. He will tell you that even his colleagues in the opposition, when he needed their votes, he didn't get what he expected. However, everyone he was meeting in the corridors of Parliament was assuring him how he voted for him. And he kept on asking that today, I've met over 30 members of Parliament, all assuring me they voted for me. But I didn't even get 16 votes.
Wow. And in this current Parliament, the 12th Parliament, even if the opposition were to unite,
they would still not defeat.
Because their total is just 78 of them who would be opposing the speakers endorsed, Speaker and Deputy Speaker endorsed by the NRM party, which still would not tally to at least get them the candidate that they feel should lead the August House. Is the NRM's endorsement of Oboth and Thomas Tayebwa a step in the right direction for Parliament? Share your views. 0709-602-592. Now, Robert, allow me get into some of them as we chew on each. Hi, Julian. Robert, thank you for the show. This is Teacher Igalagwa Edward from Buyende District. I think it's a big no. They should be elected together with the parliamentary members instead of president selecting them normally, where they were just endorsed by their party to go contest.
I think we have to help our brother understand how things are done in the NRM. I don't succumb to any political party in this country, but I have interests. Now, NRM has one of the most transparent systems when it comes to a speakership race. And that is what they did this time. How and why am I saying so? Much as you had heard of Jacob Oboth, NRM invited persons with interest
That was at the SEC meeting.
At the SEC meeting. And believe you me, they did. For example, for Deputy Speaker, there were about 15 of them. For Speaker, we had independent Persis Namuganza. We had Honorable, this lady, her name, Akiki.
Lydia Wanyoto.
We had Lydia Wanyoto. There were quite that
Akiki Asimwe Florence.
Asimwe Florence, who expressed interest. Now, when you express interest in NRM, there's a procedure. You get the forms, then SEC does the vetting. Because you're in a multi-party dispensation, where each political party knows that their candidate is going to tussle it out with the opposition. So when you express interest, there is a vetting. And after this vetting, SEC invites all that have shown interest. And they discuss. When they come to a consensus that, okay, I step down for my brother, I step down for my brother, I step down for my sister. Just to remind you, Honorable Becca Kadaga, when the step down came, she didn't. She said, no, I'm ready to go. She was never chased out of the party. They went ahead and Jacob Oranya won. Now, here, these agreed to step down. It's not by coercion, because you can still decide. But the party speaks to you. Like in your family, you can have some issues and you have to discuss. A political party is more or less like a family. So they agree that, okay, you go, you're much better. And if you look at the clips of these people, after that SEC meeting, for example, Honorable Akiki, it was like, for me, the person, I was, you know, you would see that their faces are speaking out of reality. That, yes, we've said, let Jacob Oboth go, let Thomas Tayebwa go. And where there is consensus, and then you also come from the SEC, there is the NRM caucus, which also has an input. It is not just coming, yes, yes, no. So I think it is wrong to assume that it is the chairman of the party that decides. Not at all. And Jacob Oboth, in the previous race, with where we saw Jacob Oranya and Rebecca Kadaga had interests in this position. But I think there's consensus somewhere and he decided to pull out. So there's a system followed. It is not a one-man determines everything.
Right. Good morning, Uganda. Honorable Oboth and Honorable Tayebwa will be a good combination. However, women emancipation has not been considered this time on speakership. I'm Dennis from Banda. Good morning, Julie and Robert. It's Isaac Wanzala Aizo in West Nile. The endorsement of both men for speakership seems NRM has withdrawn their interest in and trust in women basing on what the former speaker is going through. Do you think this is blowing a situation out of proportion? I think in my perspective.
I don't want to say NRM has withdrawn because we still have a cabinet coming up. And what will the cabinet look like? If we still have high percentages of women, that will show. But also knowing the history of NRM. NRM and women emancipation is something they treasure so much, so close to them. And I know this was a bitter pill for them to take. that they couldn't have a woman come in as one of the positions or replace a woman, but we wait for what the cabinet would look like.
Right.
Yeah, that would be the final blow to say, okay, if we had the first prime minister, if we had the vice president, if we had the speaker, and this time around, because that is where the president, I think, is not going to go through so much. It is upon him as the party chairperson to feel maybe there is a way
who he can work
best with.
Right.
And if we don't see that women take it so much, then we may conclusively say that maybe somehow he is lost. But when you look at the current cabinet, I don't know what is coming, you see that there's women-dominated top positions in the cabinet.
Right. Watching the show from Malaba, as per now, as per my own assessment, the position is currently finished. And my prayer is that the team do us a good service and bring back the image of Parliament as it used to be in the beginning. Lastly, we see all signs that the method is picking the speaker has changed, and this team is going to serve only these 5 years, and a new team will be coming in during the 2031 elections. And we have to go by these rules of the game. The method of deputy serving for 10 years and then move to serve another 10 years as full speaker has ended. And it's better for the transition we are going through currently. Okay, thank you very much. Didn't leave your name, but we do appreciate that you are watching the show. Nze Omgaga Saulembo mbuuza lwaki speaker ku luno ababaka tebamutulondera ng'avudde mu opposition. Okay, you'll definitely be finding out at the end of the day today. This is Gates from Kumba University. NRM didn't take the right direction. Anita Annette Among has far much better experience to lead the parliament. Secondly, she was so much strategic in persuading the opposition members to the NRM party. Thank you so much. Good morning. The issue of speakership is not meaningful enough to Ugandans. The speaker is the mediator in a national debate among parliamentarians. What matters is how have or are Ugandans benefiting from their actions or decisions? What's the foundation call for the laws that are always passed usually? I think the parliament is just existing with nothing much they are contributing to Ugandans. Thank you for the show. Did not leave your name, but I can see your WhatsApp identity is Johnson. Thank you for being on the show. And somebody else, you typed and deleted the message. And someone else comes through and says, I know Mao may win due to confusion in NRM right now following the scandal of AAA. This is Alfred Kaima in Kasese. And Karamoja Iron Sheets. Okay, this is Phillips from Karamoja. And says, good morning, Julie. AAA was, together with Honorable Taiwa, working as a team. All the two should have opted from the rest of Parliament so the 12th Parliament can start with new leadership. All the two could have participated in that corruption scandal selective application of the law here. Karamoja Iron Sheets, too, one of them was involved. Corruption again. And good morning, wonderful presenters. I feel good about the candidates, only that I just pray for transparency as it was before. Otherwise, the heart of brotherhood is key, especially among leaders. This is Masuba Samson from Liran. Now, as we begin to wrap this conversation out, Robert, what do you think of the comments so far?
Well, first I want to say that every political party has a way of doing their things. And they have reasons. Now, for you, the speakership position, you may just look at it as someone moderating a debate.
Right.
But for a party in power, it's beyond that. Party loyalty should also be there. The ability to do that work must also be there. But also understand the vision of a country and a party. So sometimes what you may look at as priority may not be the priority of the party in power. Those you must understand, because in multi-party dispensation, in political parties you get power, you consolidate it, you retain it, and you must close gaps that can make you lose that power. And one of the areas you can lose power is Parliament. As a political party, you don't joke with Parliament. The legislature has power. Someone can, from the world, bring a private member's bill. Those those people can make passing the budget a problem for you if you just get excited and you don't see beyond. You may want to do certain things, and the speaker is influential. He has the ability to mobilize. This is the person who will have to attract someone's attention. He may even fade you. So there is something behind the curtain that the ordinary eye may not see. Why a party must be very careful on who takes. We may have these minors, man, he was involved in this, he was involved in that, but to the interests of the party and the nation at large, as far as peace, as far as development is concerned, you need to have an extra eye and see that the person sitting in that position. And I can say that I don't expect any change at the end of the day. We've seen the numbers, and history has proven us that there is no day NRM caucus and SEC have agreed on a position and the members of parliament do otherwise. Right. Jacob Oboth, I can congratulate him in advance. Honorable Thomas Tayewa, I can congratulate you in advance, because I'm very sure it can't rain soda. There is no way you're going to see any opposition come out as a member, a speaker, or a deputy speaker. Right. Numbers are not in their favor, and NRM has set precedent. Right. Now let's close this off with a couple of your comments that are coming through. Good morning, Uganda. This is Teacher Musa Okure from Katakwi. That endorsement is only very fine on one person, that is Oboth. But why did NRM bring back Tayewa, who was dining with AAA, who is now, for me, the motto should be one man, one woman. And hi, is Honorable Oboth doesn't he have a hand on the iron sheet saga? Good morning, Julia and Robert. Cricket Derek Gagamel. I must say Anita's saga has been an eye-opener to many Ugandans to at least get information about speakership, much as now the public see Anita among now as a historic Marie Antoinette. But the funny thing about Ugandans is that they quickly forget, more so when impressed. Also, that saga can be history to them in case AA does something exciting to them. Good morning. This is Nathan here. In Buya, we have lost interest in women because of greediness. That's a very wrong statement. Now you respond to that. I don't understand.
It's a very wrong statement, I must say. But is the Speaker accounting officer of Parliament, and why is it that they are pinning AAA Mulindwa William from Manze Masulita? Good morning. And as a pairing, they give NRM a stable, low-friction leadership team. That is good for efficiency, bad for contestation. And I wish, finally, the Speaker from the opposition party is in order to not to get orders from the head of state. This is Jimmy, who is in the United Kingdom. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for being on the show. And all of you who have participated, thank you for sharing your views. We are waiting to see what the event will look like, what the detail will look like. As predictable as the result of it looks and seems, at least we're interested in the in-between, what will be unfolding. And as UBC will be bringing it to you right where you are. For now, let's have a short break. GNU Tourism Express is up next. So by the way, welcome back from the Powate. It was such a beautiful, beautiful weekend of that function. And of course, we still have GNU business and the agenda, as well as sports. Good morning.
I know what Uganda needs. When General Caleb Akantwanaho retired, Salim Saleh presented his long, detailed analysis of Uganda's economy and structured recommendations for improvement in the form of the Third National Development Plan, NDP-3, to President Museveni. He laid out the kinds of problems that many Ugandans feel every day, but rarely see captured in one place. He was doing what he has done for years, breaking down the problems holding back ordinary Ugandans. He talked about distortions in factors of production, such as land conflicts that choke investment, the high cost of finance for ordinary people, the shortage of skills among youth, the slow pace of value addition, and the gap between production in the villages and the factories in industrial parks. It was the kind of diagnosis a technocrat offers when trying to get a country unstuck. The president's reply was striking in its simplicity. I know what Uganda needs. At first, to others, it might have sounded almost dismissive. But when placed in the context of 40 years of state rebuilding, economic reform, and political stability, it revealed something deeper. A belief that Uganda's path to transformation has been consistent, deliberate, and informed by lived experience rather than theory. His confidence is not based on guesswork. It's based on the journey already traveled. He always stresses that any serious revolutionary discussion about the economy of Uganda, or indeed much of Africa, should include the following questions. 1. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1900, at the dawn of colonialism? 2. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1962, at the sunset of colonialism? 3. How and what was the magnitude of the collapse of the Ugandan economy between 1971 and 1986? Idi Amin, Obote II, Okello. 4. What, therefore, was the economy of Uganda like in 1986? 5. What is the Ugandan economy like today, and why?
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
For tourism promoters, I want to tell you that Uganda is unique. There are only 3 points on the globe, Uganda and 2 others, which are like this. Why is Uganda unique? It is unique because we are right on the equator. That airport where you landed is 200 meters north of the equator. The equator passes 200 meters from the end of the runway on the southern side. So we get the sun all the year round. But our altitude is high. Normally when I travel to the world, I get very worried. When I land in New York, I look at the computer of my plane, and they say I am 18 feet above sea level. Ooh! I don't sleep in the hotel because I get worried that the ocean may come and swallow me. But here where you are 1,000 something, maybe 1,200 meters above the sea. Here. And this is middle level. You can show them the highest point of Uganda, which is 5,000 meters. Put it on the screen if you have it. That is, freeze it there, freeze it. Don't think those are the Alps in Europe. That's Uganda. Freeze it, keep it there. This is what amazed the first European, one of the first Europeans who came here, Henry Morton Stanley. He was amazed. Couldn't know that there was snow right on the equator. And this is the uniqueness of Uganda. On the equator with a high altitude. The only other parts of the world which are like this are a part of Kenya. There's a part of Kenya which is near Mount Kenya, which is like this one. And also there's a country in South America. What was you call it? There's a country in South America. I've never been there, but I see it on the map. I think it may be like here. It's called Ecuador. Ecuador. I suspect that country may be like Uganda here. So when you say come to Uganda, other than these people who have put you in a furnace, what they call, I don't know what you call it. Here you don't have to warm the air, you don't have to cool it, you just enjoy it the way it is. If you come to State House, the houses where government houses, there's air conditioning there, but I have never used it. Never used it. The machines are, I don't think they're even working, because I never use air conditioning. So that is point number one. These are three unique parts of the world. In Tanzania, there's also another place called, but that is a bit south of the equator. It's not exactly on the equator, it's a bit south, called Kilimanjaro. Near the equator, not very far. But the ones direct on the equator, it is a part of Kenya, Uganda, and Ecuador. Otherwise, the equator, for most of the time, passes through low-lying parts of the world, like the Amazon. I hear those people who have been to the Amazon, it's very humid, very hot. The Congo Basin, part of Congo, very hot, very humid. I was in the Philippines once, very humid. The equator passes there. And then in the ocean, most of the time the equator passes in the ocean. So when we say our friend Winston Churchill, when he wrote that statement in 1907, he was amazed. He had never seen anything like this in his life. And Churchill was a wanderer. He was a permanent traveler. So he was amazed. That's number one. The uniqueness of Uganda. There is nothing. When I travel, it's a sacrifice. I really sacrifice to leave Uganda to go and visit other places. I don't want to leave Uganda for any. Me, I am over here and for here. I am always here. And these days I had the trouble. But secondly, if you are looking for the original Africans, here they are, who are very much isolated. The first non-black person we saw here was in 1841. You can imagine, it's not just 200 years ago. This is the first time we saw a person called Arab. Umwarabu, kutosoka kulaba wano, was a man called Ibrahim from Zanzibar. Our people had never seen a non-black person. They were amazed. They didn't know that there were white people in the world. And then the first white man to come here was Huntington Speke, who came in 1862. So our interaction with the world is recent. And if you are looking for the Africans who still have African ways, here they are. You have seen some of these girls here, how beautiful they look, who are speaking there. The ones who are speaking, the directors and the permanent, so those are the real. You saw them, didn't you see them? That is made in Uganda, original. Now, that goes with the culture, the languages. The languages are very rich. That's why I had to write a book capturing some of these languages, called social something, I've forgotten what they call it, some sort of dictionary, capturing some of these languages. Because like when I go to foreign countries and you find something called tomato juice. Juice! How can tomato be a juice? Tomato is not a juice. These people don't know how life is. Tomato cannot have a juice. Tomato is mboga. How can mboga have juice? Ombisi. But these people think it is juice. Ombisi. And this is because of the language. Because for us, we have got a word for vegetable, we've got a word for juice, ombisi, we've got a word for fruits. The only thing that can produce juice are bananas, maybe sugar cane, fruits can, the mango, oranges, but tomatoes, okushuma, mashing, as opposed to okunyuka. Abaganda okunyuka bakwita batya mu Luganda? Okukola bakiyita batya? Okusogola omwenge, bakiyita kusogola. Siku ya kusogola. Abaganda baliwo oba bagwawo bannange. Omuganda ddala ali ludda wa? Guno ogusajja Uganda guno?
Your Excellency. Kwe kusogola.
Kwe kusogola. Okusogola cannot be the ate mashing okushuma mukuyita mutya okushuma mashing banyankole kweta okushuma. So the languages, culture. Then you come to the foods. This Africa can save the world from bad foods. The young girl was talking about pineapples. When I went to Washington, they brought something called pineapple. But when I put it in the mouth, I could feel the urea. Umuhembero, banange. Chichigambo chiri awo nacho. I could feel I said, where this tomato coming, this pineapple that is from Hawaii. Small but full of I think, chemicals, fertilizers. But here the foods are so rich, so original. I am now going to be 82 years old. I only eat our indigenous food. I never eat any, I don't eat rice. You are the ones who eat rice. I eat our own food. So it's very important to inform the world. If you take like millet, millet is the richest food in life, apart from milk, of course. You remember Mata. I'm going to go Galiao. Because millet is a cereal which has got a lot of protein, a lot of carbohydrate, but also iron. If you look at rice, you look at wheat, I don't think they have that combination. So therefore, when we are inviting, we are now coming also to the issue of medicine. Our young people who grow up in the villages, seeing what their parents were doing, many of them have gone to modern universities. They are highly qualified scientists. And they have found a lot of, they have modernized what we have been using traditionally, and it's very, very effective. You'll be getting more stories about that. So therefore, when we are talking of Uganda as a tourism destination, it is for comfort. If you want to live comfortably, the only irritant has been the mosquito, these insects, but we know how to control them. I'm sure here you don't see any mosquito here. We have been working to reassemble that connected trading area. And it is helping us because many of the products we produce, the internal market in Uganda is not enough. We sell them in the region and in the whole of Africa. So therefore, in the new government, I would advise them to make it easier for the tourists to come, and because apparently one of the, I don't know why, they have been giving short visas of 3 months. But the Americans complained, say, we give you visa of 3 years, that the Americans give us a visa of 3 years, and you give them of only 3 months. Why? What are you worried about? Give him 3 years multiple entry visa. Let him go, come back if he wants. As long as he's paying his bills, are you worried about his pocket? What is your concern? He will not come without money. He will come with money to pay for his bills. So these short visas are not, I don't know why you people are insisting on them. We are going to discuss that. Now finally, I would happily go to the park with you people. Just organize. I'll come and join you. With these few words, I officially open the Power of Africa Expo. Thank you very much.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Welcome back from that very interesting message by the President, extension of visas. You know, as long as they are paying their bills, why should we give them a very short time? Now, if that's worked on, then yes, our tourists will be staying more than they should, or they have been staying. Now, let's look into what the business desk has for us. We begin with residents in the city of Bunia in Democratic Republic of Congo are facing soaring prices for basic supplies, protective supplies, as the Ebola outbreak worsens, raising concerns over access to essential safety items. Let's take a look at the situation in Bunia.
Masks and hand sanitizer. In Bunia town, protecting oneself from the ongoing Ebola outbreak is becoming an unaffordable luxury. As the Bundibujo strain has no vaccines, community prevention remains a key defense against spread of the virus. However, prices for essential supplies such as disposable masks and hand sanitizer have skyrocketed.
Ebola is here. I'm wearing my face mask. We used to sell this for 1,000 francs. Today I bought one for 1,500 francs. When we travel, we buy them for 5,000 francs. I don't like this situation. I buy a mask every day. Every week I spend between 6,000 and 9,000 francs. I pray that this disease will pass. I'm losing a lot of money every day.
Local officials say the inflation is due to reduced trade flows between neighboring countries. Nations like Rwanda and Uganda have already imposed temporary closures of borders with the DRC.
Uganda is our neighboring country, and the town of Bunia isn't too far from the border, and they have just imposed a 2-week ban on public transport. There are no buses. There is no traffic, in fact, apart from goods, so vehicles transporting foodstuffs and essential goods, nothing else.
The crisis leaves the city's most vulnerable residents with an impossible dilemma, forced to weigh the cost of health against the cost of basic needs. Sophia Shimecheros, GTN.
And moving on, business leaders in Hong Kong have welcomed the successful launch of Changzhou 23, with Chief Executive John Lee congratulating the National Space Program and commending the crew for advancing innovation and technological development.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff.
So the first critical step will be the pitch over, which means that the launch vehicle will change its direction to eastwards.
Just a spectacular scene. You're watching Shenzhou 23 spacecraft, China's divine vessel, climbing skyward from its desert spaceport. Its destination, Tiangong, the Heavenly Palace. 3 astronauts on board the Shenzhou 23 spacecraft will be ferried to the core module of China's space station. Oh, you can see the moon right there,
exactly.
Very clearly.
So this is well calculated before the launch, the right direction.
And well, that brings us to the end of our business stories this morning. We'll return with Good Morning Uganda agenda, and Julie will be having a guest and discussing issues of national importance. Keep it with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
General, to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product.
I know what Uganda needs. When General Caleb Akantwanaho retired, Salim Saleh presented his long, detailed analysis of Uganda's economy and structured recommendations for improvement in the form of the Third National Development Plan, NDP-3, to President Museveni. He laid out the kinds of problems that many Ugandans feel every day, but rarely see captured in one place. He was doing what he has done for years, breaking down the problems holding back ordinary Ugandans. He talked about distortions in factors of production, such as land conflicts that choke investment, the high cost of finance for ordinary people, the shortage of skills among youth, the slow pace of value addition, and the gap between production in the villages and the factories in industrial parks. It was the kind of diagnosis a technocrat offers when trying to get a country unstuck. The president's reply was striking in its simplicity. I know what Uganda needs. At first, to others, it might have sounded almost dismissive. But when placed in the context of 40 years of state rebuilding, economic reform, and political stability, it revealed something deeper. A belief that Uganda's path to transformation has been consistent, deliberate, and informed by lived experience rather than theory. His confidence is not based on guesswork. It's based on the journey already traveled. He always stresses that any serious revolutionary discussion about the economy of Uganda, or indeed much of Africa, should include the following questions. 1. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1900, at the dawn of colonialism? 2. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1962, at the sunset of colonialism? 3. How and what was the magnitude of the collapse of the Ugandan economy between 1971 and 1986? Idi Amin, Obote II, Okello. 4. What, therefore, was the economy of Uganda like in 1986? 5. What is the Ugandan economy like today, and why?
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of the roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
The Front Bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
When you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers, you bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport. If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's finally here, and you're all invited. This Thursday, the 7th of May, 2026, is the grand launch of UBC Totore Radio 90 FM, based in Moroto, Karamoja. Come, be part of this great milestone. The launch begins at 8 a.m. in Moroto Town, Karamoja. Come and enjoy the vibe of UBC Totore 90 FM. Ngina Yoka.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live